Let's move on to the main lines of the Maroczy. In the previous clip we have seen already what the ideas are in case white drops back with a knight to c2. But bishop e3 is by far the main move, developing the bishop and protecting the knight at on d4 at the same time. So, well, there are a lot of different options, of course. You can just opt for a typical plan with knight f6 and d6, for instance, in different move orders. It's possible. But I would like to recommend the modern interpretation of this opening, which is with this move queen b6. We are adding a third piece on the knight, hitting that knight on d4. And white has to be careful. And, well, it's a trendy line, has been played by a lot of strong players, especially some Uzbek players, like Fakidov. I've mentioned him a couple of times. But also his fellow countryman Abdusattorov has played it a few times. And so other grandmasters have picked it up as well. Nakamura, I think Caruana has played it, Carlsen. So it's a very interesting and reliable system, in my opinion. In this clip, a short intro of what you may expect in the coming chapters. The main moves are knight b3, to drop back with a knight and hit the queen. There are a couple of things I would like to discuss there. It's an interesting line. The other option is to play knight b5, also attacking the queen. It may look very similar, but there are some very subtle differences. And, well, there are a lot of ideas to discuss, and it leads to kind of original play. And I have the feeling that we can also try to surprise our opponents in these lines. So on this system with knight b5, after queen a5, there are basically three interesting ways to stop the check. It's going back with a knight to c3, it's developing the other knight to c3, and you can go bishop d2. So three different chapters are devoted to these moves. And knight b3 also have been covered in two different parts. So I'll take you there later. In this chapter, I would like to start by pointing out some minor options. It's very unlikely you're going to face them because they're pretty bad. The first one is this move knight f5. It's a typical idea in some other lines to attack the queen and attack the bishop, but it can just be met by queen takes b2. And that also enables me to mention that the move knight e6 after queen takes b2 is likely to come down to the same thing. After this move queen takes b2, there's knight takes g7, and the queen can come back to capture the knight. Well, you have won a pawn. White can of course continue developing knight to d2 to protect the rook in the corner, but after a move like knight f6, I think we don't have any problems. We have just simple ideas to continue completing our own development. So yeah, that is about the options knight f5 and knight e6. Another knight move here at this point is just to capture on c6, attacking the queen here as well. And yeah, my recommendation is just to take back with the queen. Simple move. Queen is okay here, and we have already a bit of pressure against the pawn on e4 and against the pawn on b2. So white is in a difficult situation to see how to cope with both threats. The most obvious move is queen c2, defending both pawns with your queen. And, well, there are two different ways. You may consider the ambitious try b5, trying to exploit the pin on the c-file. You got to reckon with white responding with c5 himself. But I preferred to study this option, knight f6, which develops another piece. And in case bishop d3 is going to be played, I want to break free with the move d5. I think this is an easier way to continue, just enabling the bishop to come out very soon, opening up the center and destroying white's bind pawn formation. So pawn takes d5, you can recapture with your knight. That is the key idea, threatening to take the bishop on e3, knight b4 is another idea. And of course, if you take the knight, it's queen takes c2, queens are coming off the board, and at the end of the day, the pawn on b2 is hanging. So a typical tactic exploiting white's problems regarding queenside development. So that is what I would like to do against bishop d3, to strike with d5. In case of knight c3, looks like the natural move, like white has well protected these two pawns. But here we have the option to go knight g4, because the queen is no longer on d1 guarding that g4 square. And this is kind of annoying for white, as you don't want to give up your dark squared bishop. We are familiar with this idea in a lot of other variations in this opening as well. If the bishop comes back to d2, we have queen c5, threatening something really annoying on f2. So therefore the white got to drop back with a knight. But you know, this is even not that clear. It's an interesting position, but I can imagine that a lot of people playing with white will feel a bit annoyed, having been forced to drop back with both the bishop and the knight. White will need a couple of more moves to untangle, while black has very simple developing moves and already exchanged one minor piece, which is also making black's life a bit easier. The alternative is to come to f4 with the bishop, so the bishop can always come back to g3 in case that's needed. But my recommendation is to take on c3. Typical move we have seen before. You may consider taking with the b pawn. It's something we will discuss later. But then we have a simple play against both double pawns on the c file. We can play d6, bishop e6, rook to c8, and so on. So queen takes c3 hits the rook in the corner. So after queen takes e4 check, we can block with the bishop. No time to take on f4 because of mate on h8. So we got a castle here, and then the threat against the bishop remains. Also against the pawn on g2, of course. So queen f3, and here I think we can safely go for the exchange of queens. Take, d6, protecting the knight on g4. And, well, this is definitely a bit better for black. I actually looked even at this move c5, trying to generate some play, getting a rook to the c file, try to open up the c file. So that's why I don't really want to take here. I think that white's bishops are quite annoying, challenging the queen side. But knight e5 is a simple move, threatening to take the bishop and a fork on d3. So bishop can come back, and then let's just get the bishop out to e6. The pressure against b7 is gone. We are up a healthy pawn. We can centralize our rooks. So this is clearly better for black. Yeah. So yeah, that is about the move queen c2. If you try knight c3 right away, then anyway, we take on c3, pawn takes c3, and queen takes e4. Again, we are up a pawn, and white is not in the position here to play ambitiously with bishop d3 because it hangs the pawn on g2 as well. A second pawn is way too much. So therefore, I looked at two other options. First move is queen d5, but I'm going to respond with knight f6, attacking the queen, defending the queen on e4. And that is also my response in case of queen d4, which is a bit more forcing, it looks like, as you're attacking the rook in the corner. Anyway, knight f6. And well, here the queens can simply be exchanged. But I believe that black is in still good shape. After something like f3, we go back with the knight to f6. And how should white continue? Well, if black gets the chance here to put pawns on d6 and b6, get a bishop out somehow, then c4 is going to drop as well. So I think the only try is c5, trying to hinder black from getting the bishop out from c8. But after castling bishop d3, we got to find a way to get the bishop into the game. One option is to go rook d8 and play d6. Interesting try. I think in a way a bit simpler is to go for the move b6, to return the pawn, and after cb, ab, bishop takes b6, materials even again, but I think black is in good shape here. We are trying to deprive white from the bishop pair. White can, of course, keep the bishop on the board, but then, of course, the bishop on a6 is looking great, and the king is in the center. We can bring our other rook into play. The knight can come to d5. I have the feeling that black is in good shape, and we don't have to fear the bishop pair here at all. So, yeah. No need to elaborate on these lines. These are all minor options, but it's good to know how to handle them. So we are ready for the real stuff in the main lines. See you in the next chapter.